Right everyone, I've calmed down after yesterday. It was a frantic day, but at the end of the day we got a chance to speak to Celtic captain Callum McGregor. If for whatever reason you were on the bevy last night, you may have missed that video going out because it did go out a wee bit later than I would certainly have liked. I will link it above. I think it's that side. It might be that side. It's up there somewhere anyway. We spoke to Callum McGregor yesterday on the day that he signed a new 5-year Celtic contract that will keep him at the club until the year 2026, which is a long time away. What isn't a long time away is tomorrow, and tomorrow we face Dundee United at Celtic Park. That's what we're going to be chatting about on today's video, well, in a wee minute. So without going into all the details on yesterday once again, because quite frankly you don't really care about my life, do you? And I don't blame you for that. Yesterday was a bit of a frustrating day for me because I had sorted a big long video with loads of various things. I went in depth on the injury crisis, some comments made by Ange. I'm going to pick the best bits out of that and give you them on today's video. I'm re-recording it all. It's not as if I'm just putting the video out from yesterday. I wanted to talk about a number of observations I had from Thursday night. As I say, I mentioned these on yesterday's video that you will never see, RIP, etc. First of all, the disco lights are really good. I don't really have anything to add on that. I just wanted an opportunity to play the video that I took during the game on Thursday night. Yeah, they're brilliant. Second of all, the ball boys. Now, people have probably wondered for quite a long time whether the ball boys are actually being told to speed up the Celtic's play when the ball goes out. Get the ball right back on the park as soon as possible. This was pretty much confirmed to me on Thursday night. Joe Hart comes out for the second half. He runs, walks, can't remember, light jog I think, over to us and applauds the Celtic support like that, and then gives a wee sign to the two ball boys or ball girls. I don't want to get myself cancelled here. And it was basically a message of, you know what to do, get the ball fired out to me. As soon as the ball leaves the park, get the next ball fired out to me. And it's clear that the ball boys were aware of this message beforehand. It was very much a you know what to do message from Joe Hart rather than him just telling them this is what you need to do. The ball people have obviously been told by someone else at the club that they need to try and do this. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the original message has come from Ange. In fact, I'd say that's probably pretty much a certainty that Ange wants the game started as soon as possible to give the opposition as little time as possible to set themselves. Let's make it frantic. Let's make it hell to play against Celtic. Now, will we do that on Thursday night at home to Bayer Leverkusen? I kind of feel we might. But we just need to be careful because we're up against a much higher calibre of opposition. Probably the best team we've played so far this season. So it's one to watch. The other observation I had goes around Joe Hart as well. Now, I did say this on Thursday night's video and I also tweeted it, so you may have heard this already. But basically the team were getting ready to head off the park on Thursday night after the game without doing their usual lap of honour. Now, anyone who goes to Celtic Park any time recently will know that we do this after every game, pretty much every game. I don't know if we do it after defeats, but certainly pretty much every game the team will walk around the pitch. They'll start at one side and they'll walk all the way round towards the standing section, applauding all the Celtic fans who are remaining there. There's probably only 5,000 or 6,000 maybe left in the stadium at that stage, but it's become a bit of a ritual. And whenever I'm in that part of the stadium, or to be honest, any part of the stadium, I always quite like to wait and applaud the team off. Now, people from other clubs might have a go at the Celtic players for getting a lap of honour after beating Raith Rovers 3-0, but I think it's a nice touch, and Joe Hart made sure that the players did that on Thursday because they were getting ready to go off that park. He's not stupid. And while I don't think there's an ulterior motive for this, it is clear that he wants the Celtic fans to be on his side. So it's a good move. He also was the only player to acknowledge the fans on Sunday after the defeat against Livingston, while 10 of the outfield players all just headed up the tunnel straight away. Joe Hart actually came over and he got the tone spot on. He apologised to the Celtic support and thanked them for their support before heading up the tunnel. This was a guy I didn't really like at the start of his career. I really didn't. I thought he was a bit of a chancer. I didn't think he was a great goalkeeper. But he's really surprised me with just how much of a leader he's been and how quickly he's been integrated into being a Celtic player. He knows the standards that we need to set at Celtic because he's played at such a high level in his career. He's won trophies with Man City. He's been England's number one at probably 3, if not 4 major competitions. So he is a big name. But beyond all of that, he's backing it up with good performances as well. He's keeping a lot of clean sheets at Celtic Park, and away from home you can't really blame him for, I don't think, many of the goals we've let in lately, and on top of that he's made a lot of good saves. So I'm really happy with Joe Hart, and I think Callum McGregor even touched on it in yesterday's video. It's just great to have more leaders at the club. These are the kind of guys you're going to depend on in cup semi-finals, cup finals, April, May, when it comes to the end of the league season. It's people like Joe Hart that have been there and have done it and have the t-shirt that you're going to want to rely on. So Hart has been great, and I'm delighted that he's been such a big presence, especially lately when we've needed him so badly, because we have had a fair bit of bad luck with regards to injuries lately. I would describe it as an injury crisis. You may think that's a little bit over the top, but when you look at how many key players are not available for Celtic at the moment and how bereft our squad seems to be of any sort of competition or replacements, it's a concerning time. We just need to get through this period. Now, again, something I had in yesterday's video was I did a bit of digging just to find out exactly what the script is with the 8 first-team players who are currently out of action at the moment. What's the issue with them? How long before we can expect to see them back playing for Celtic? And I've done this in order of how soon they'll be back. So first up, the next Celtic player we should see back is Callum McGregor. He won't play tomorrow against Dundee United. He could make Thursday night against Bayer Leverkusen. And if not that, you would certainly hope to see him in the squad for the game at Pittodrie a few days later. I think Celtic are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place with McGregor because he's such a key player that we want him back as soon as possible, but we also don't want to rush him back too early and then he misses more time. I kind of get the feeling we might not see Callum McGregor certainly starting a match until after the international break. It was actually the last international break when he picked up this injury. He was playing for Scotland away to Austria and he had some sort of a hamstring problem. He actually played for Celtic in our first game back, the 3-0 win against Ross County. He played, I think, 66, 67 minutes of that match before going off, and we haven't seen him since. So hopefully he comes back soon. The same goes for Kyogo. He also picked up an injury, a knee injury, while playing international football for Japan against China. We are looking at after the international break for him. He was back in training earlier this week, but he was on his own. I don't think he was training with the whole group. But I think we're probably looking at Kyogo being back after the international break, which will be absolutely massive for everyone at Celtic. Probably the same for Giakoumakis and Mikey Johnston. Giakoumakis injured his calf in the warm-up last week. He fancied a week off, so he got a week calf. That sounded better in my head. He's having a scan. He's probably had that scan by now. We don't know yet the results of that. And Mikey Johnson picked up an injury in training. He just has no luck at all with injuries. I'm not one of these guys that wants to have a go at Mikey Johnson for that because he's not getting injured on purpose. It's probably, well, it will be even more frustrating for him than it is for any of us. So I don't think it does any good piling on to Mikey Johnson, but it is a really frustrating thing for everyone involved that he keeps picking up injuries. I think, without knowing, that Giakoumakis and Johnson would probably be after the international break as well. James Forrest and Christopher Julian probably likewise, but they're a little bit further behind the 3 players we just mentioned. I think they'll be back in training after the international break. which is obviously great news. Forrest and Julian, two huge players, a couple of seasons ago for Celtic, maybe our two key players a couple of seasons ago. Having them back will be huge, but we're probably looking at a good 2 or 3 weeks after they're back in training. Forrest is a strange situation. He has been missing since the home win over AZ Alkmaar. Julian has been missing since the festive period of 2020. Remember, he clattered into the post against Dundee United. And the two longer term injuries, Greg Taylor, we're probably looking at another few months. For Greg Taylor, he has a shoulder injury, had shoulder surgery earlier in the week. And also Karamoko Dembele. Now, he hasn't featured since the third game of pre-season against Bristol City. You may recall that he had a pretty bad tackle put in on him in that game. Ankle injury, I think, may even have been a broken ankle. We're looking at another few months out for him as well. It's all getting a bit daft now on the injury front, isn't it? I don't want to go too into the whys of the whole thing, because I touched on it a little bit earlier in the week with the Anton McElhone video. I believe Anton McElhone was at Celtic Park on Thursday, like on the pitch doing his job. So I saw a few people saying that on Twitter. So it seems like he certainly started his role. Hopefully he can get the players in better nick in terms of both fitness and making sure they pick up less injuries going forward. What I did want to touch on just finally was Ange's perspective on the whole situation. Many Celtic managers in the past, especially a certain Northern Irishman, may have used this as a bit of a shield, a perfect excuse to mask over bad results. Oh, we've got so many players out. How am I meant to do this when I've got McGregor and Kyogo and all of these players out? Not Ange. Ange isn't looking for excuses at all. Ange is looking for the positives in this situation. And the positives for Ange, and he said this earlier in the week, we can build resilience and confidence if we come through this period doing well. And he's hit upon the perfect tone to take there. Imagine Celtic come through these next 3 matches, win on Sunday against Dundee United, get a positive result, even if it's a draw against Leverkusen, and win at Pittodrie. Imagine we come through that period, go into the international break, and then come back. McGregor's back, Kyogo's back, Julian and Forrest aren't far off it, Giakoumakis is there. We'll feel brilliant. We'll feel brilliant as fans, and the team will feel brilliant as well, because they'll have come through a really sticky situation. And it's great to see Ange taking that tone. It's the exact right tone to take. Not feeling sorry for himself, not making excuses, trying to find the positives there. Hopefully there are plenty of positives tomorrow afternoon against Dundee United. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff at Celtic Park. I believe there are still tickets available. Interestingly enough, the game is also available on pay-per-view. This is the first time I believe Celtic have done this for a home league match. Maybe that's a sign of Michael Nicholson's input. Who knows? Maybe they just feel under pressure. Maybe they feel sorry for the Dundee United fans that can't make it. But anyway, it's there if you want to watch it. If you can't make the game, you're able to pay. Actually, I don't know how much it is. I'll look that up. $12.99 it is, apparently. So you can do that tomorrow if you want, or if you're able to get to the game, you'll probably still be able to pick up a ticket. This is the team that I think will play. We're going with Joe Hart in nets, a back 4 of Juranovic, Carter, Vickers, Starfelt and Montgomery. McCarthy in that holding role, on his own, may I add. Turnbull and Rogic ahead of him. Abada on the right, Jota on the left, and Ajeti up front. So only one change from Thursday night. Juranovic in for Ralston. We will have the reaction for you tomorrow after the game, and we will be in a pub. I honestly can't wait. Hopefully we're chatting about a positive Celtic result. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done it yet, and we'll speak to you tomorrow.